Hari ini dijangkakan hampir 4,000 pesakit COVID-19 akan hadir untuk membuat penilaian dalam pemotongan gelang. Hari ini dijangkakan hampir 4,000 pesakit COVID-19 akan hadir untuk membuat penilaian dalam pemotongan gelang.
Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most kind. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Maria Minta Abduraza and welcome to the KLM Rewind 2021 event. And for the next hour, I will be your devoted moderator for tonight's event. Firstly, I would like to thank all of you who's tuning in and also, of course, our speakers. And I just want to say firstly that isn't it crazy to think that we're already in the year 2022? I mean, the number 2022 is not even doesn't even seem real. And the last year went by so quickly, but definitely not easily. But Alhamdulillah, we all successfully pulled through all the hardships, the challenges last year has given to us. And we all know that last year hasn't been easy for everyone. Hence, tonight we are going to recap, or may I say, rewind the happenings of last year with our respective speakers. And if all of you are wondering who might that be, firstly, let me introduce to you our beloved Dr. Amirul, Deputy Dean of Kuliah Languages and Management Pago. And we also have our third year, second semester NCOM student, Sister Zahira Zuliman. And there we go. We also have Brother Faris Fuad, also a third year NCOM student. So let me just ask you, how are you guys tonight?
I'm feeling wonderful. I'm sure Ira and Faris are feeling great as well.
Yes, that's right. I'm feeling wonderful. A little nervous, but good nonetheless.
Brother Faris, how are you tonight? I think Brother Faris has some technical issues. So no worries. Let me just ask.
Right.
I'm okay. I'm just wondering. How? I mean, we already been like 5 days into the first month of the year. So how is your January so far?
Well, I think it is too early for us to judge our January, but so far for the past 5 days, I think it went well. I think it went well, and I think we are looking forward, to finishing in the month of January.
Well, same here. Well, I think my January is starting off really great. I'm getting back to the old routine of being more productive. So I'm happy with the start of the new year. And hopefully I can keep that up.
All right. I mean, Alhamdulillah, because I am sure that I mean, we've been through a very hard 2 years. Like we had on 2019, suddenly our lives changed and our life has turned for the. I don't know. It's the most challenging period of my life for me personally, and I just think that the pandemic, if as hard as it is, it gives me a lot of new information, not a lot of new information, but also a lot of new experience to help me grow. And I was wondering, to recap a bit on our journey in the past year and 2 years, how what is the biggest challenges that you face, and what makes you remember it so much? I mean, if I can hear from Dr. Amiru.
Okay, first and foremost, thank you so much, Madiha. A very good day to all of you. Thank you for organizing, this, I would say, sembang santai lah kan, malam bersama, all of you. So if let's say you're talking about challenges kan, I think COVID-19 has definitely impacted all of us worldwide. All right. I think the biggest, one of the biggest challenges that I think all of us are facing is actually social connection. Alright. I think kan bila kita dalam this COVID-19, of course before this kita keluar jumpa kawan, and we have physical class, so and so forth. But when COVID-19 hits us, I think me as lecturer itself, we have to change into online learning. Okay, which make kita punya social connection tu is lesser, I would say. All right, because I believe that in order for you to have a fruitful sharing session with your student, the physical interaction has to be there. All right. So bila kita tak ada physical interaction, sometimes it is hard for me as a lecturer to gauge the understanding from the students. Sometimes juga students malu-malu juga tanya soalan. Rather than kalau tanya dekat physical class dengan online berbeza. So I think one of the biggest challenges that I think I am facing is social connection, and I am definitely hoping that next year insyaAllah ataupun this year we're going to have our normal life back again. Dapat jumpa kawan, dapat jumpa students. I'm sure you guys are missing the campus life. Where big campus, jumpa lecturer, jumpa students. So yeah, social connection is definitely one of the biggest challenges that I'm facing. Thank you.
Well, right. It's nice to hear that from you because, connection between lecturers and students means a lot, because I guarantee that it really helps on the learning process, because sometimes when you don't see like your lecturer face to face, sometimes you get lazy. Sometimes you feel like I can just watch the recording. Like we don't really have the motivation to go to class because we can't see our friends, we can't see the board and all. So I was just wondering that if Sister Zahira is experiencing the same thing as I am, and what is your opinion on learning online for almost 2 years?
Well, yes, I definitely think that I feel the same way, that I'm going through the same thing you went. I definitely feel that because of learning online and online learning, we don't have the social connection, and I feel like it's because we also feel like there's no repercussions in a sort of way. Like when we go to physical class, we see our lecturer, and there's I feel like we feel like, oh, if we don't do this, then our lecturer would be not be okay with it. But when we're just learning from home, like we don't turn on our camera, and everybody's doing it as well, and it's fine. And we I don't know why, but we tend to ask for more extensions, which is very weird for me, but it's very welcome, because learning from home, online learning is quite hard. It's very hard because to me, I find it hard to stay motivated, especially throughout classes, and actually not be distracted while listening to classes. And it's not because of the lecture. The lectures are great, of course, but it's just like when you're listening, you're taking notes, and suddenly you're just like zoning out or going into a different website. So yeah, definitely that's one of the biggest challenge of online learning for me. And I think there was
Well,
another question. Can you reiterate that?
no, you answered the question.
Oh,
So, I just want to add that, I guess that it's so outstanding to see that we would never play with our phones when we are in face-to-face class, but during online class, there's always like checking there. Like it feels like you don't miss anything, even though you miss so much. But that's what online learning is doing to us. I mean, we can't really stay focused on the screen as much as we stay focused during face to face session, right? So uh, in terms of that, I just like want to ask, like, not only online learning, the pandemic has changed so many perspective of our life. So I just want to ask, like, Brother Paris, how does the COVID-19 pandemic for the last 2 years and recently, how does it change your daily routine or daily life?
I think okay. First of all, I'm sorry for my experiences. My experiences now. So I had some technical problems, but okay. So to answer your question, since COVID-19, since the pandemic hits, I've been sitting in my home, doing nothing, and it can be boring. Maybe for the first 2 weeks, you'll be like, okay, I have nothing to do. No classes. I could just Netflix all day, and I've been realized that okay, I cannot be like this forever, because at that time we didn't know how long we're gonna be, become the prisoner in our own homes, so that I started to pick up some routines and some new routines basically. So it is very for me it's very something that very new as well as very refreshing, to have some kind of routine, because I myself, the concept of routine already suit well with me. But then during the pandemic, I it suddenly clicked to me. I had this clarity. Oh, I need to do something. I need to at this o'clock. What I do at this o'clock. What I do. It's not just that doing the same thing over and over again. Because first it can get boring, and two, I don't believe that by doing the same thing over and over again, uh, I could how to say I could in a way. So yeah, I started to pick up some routine, like wake up early-ish, like 9. For me, it's pretty early, 9. And then started to do, something like helping my mom and dad, doing the chores and whatnot. Like I painted my house at some point, with my dad, because both of us, basically that's how dads are. They whenever they're not working, they need to bring us stay at home. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Hopefully.
Yeah, we've been. I just think that my mom and dad has seen my face like a lot more than in these past 2 years, and I don't know if they're. I hope they're not tired of me, but it's so relatable because I will go downstairs and say hi to my mom and drink some tea with them, which something that I can't do if I'm at Mahala. And I remember in the first MCO, like the moment they announced the lockdown, I went back to my home thinking that, oh, we're gonna have holidays for 2 weeks, and then this thing is gonna disappear, and we're gonna go back to Mahala again. And suddenly now it's almost 3 years here, and I'm almost like finishing my degree, and so even though I feel like I missed a lot, but sometimes there's a good perspective from it where I spent a lot more time with my family. And I wonder if Dr. Amirul, like you, do you have the same like can you relate to the same experience, or do you feel like in your a lecturer's perspective where you have to work from home, how does it feels to you as a person?
All right. Thank you so much for the question, Madiha. I think I would like to echo what Zahira has just mentioned about motivation. Sometimes, working at home can, sometimes people orang kata, okay, there's a bright side, where you can stay with family, spend time with them. But at the same time, there's actually more to the picture. All right. Motivation plays a very important role. Sometimes, when you surround yourself with your friends, your colleagues, you be able to like, hey, let's do this together. Sometimes, bila kita kat rumah, kawan-kawan tak ada kat rumah, and bila kita nak buat assignment tu kan, it's a bit difficult for us to kick start the assignment. So I think working at home can be, it is good, there is a social connection with your family, but at the same time, you are losing that social connection with your friends, your classmate, and also with your colleagues. Sometimes macam Era kata tadi kan, distractions. Sometimes, when working at home, sometimes, kita buka TV, buka peti ais, makan whatsoever. Sometimes, when you want to do assignment or you want to do a specific job, you really have to put like 100% effort, 100% determination for you to complete the work. But, if we are being distracted, by television, by phone, for example, the productivity of our job can actually turun sikit lah. So I think I would say that working at home, okay, boleh makan best-best semua, tapi at the same time you are losing that touch, that personal touch. You are losing that motivation for you to be more productive. And furthermore, just to add, sometimes kat rumah our internet connection is not that strong. For example, me myself as a lecturer kat rumah, kadang-kadang kita nak print banyak-banyak benda, all the documents. So I think in terms of technology pun, I think it plays a very important role. Sometimes being at office itself can help us to be more productive, because we are being equipped with with technology, with a very strong internet connection, so on and so forth. Yeah. Thank you, Madiha. Hope it answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. That's nice to know that a lecturer is feeling the same way that we are, because sometimes we feel like we're alone in the struggle, and then we know that there's a lot of people like struggles with us as well, and I'm just saying that it's nice to have company. It's nice to have someone to talk to, and yeah. And also, I just like to say to everyone who's tuning in, if you have anything that you want to say, anything that you want to share, or you have questions to our speakers, feel free to ask, and I will read them. Read them and tell our speakers what your question is. And coming back to the having company and all, we as students, we as you as lecturer, and I think our university IIUM also has put a very important highlight on mental health. Right, there are so many programs about mental health, and there are so many talk about mental health, which is required because it is a very important aspect in our life. So I mean, sometimes in order to cope with stress and all, we use certain things to help make it stronger, to help make it just not lose it all. I was just wondering, someone could use running, someone could use talking to someone could use baking as their coping strategies. So for in during this pandemic, Sister Zahira, what are your coping strategies if you want to share with us?
Yeah, I would love to share my coping strategy. Honestly, it's for me, it's having a routine. I like having a routine where I know exactly what I'm gonna do in the morning, in the afternoon, at all times of the day. So for me, my specific routine involves a lot of physical activities. So I will wake up in the morning and go for a walk. And during those walks, I would also listen to podcasts I don't know, like an entertaining podcast or maybe an educational podcast. So for me, like having a routine really helps in grounding me and helping me stay focused on different aspects that I have to be focused on. So yeah, to me, it's having a routine.
Like myself, I could say the same thing, even though my routine is a bit more, leisure. And like I make sure that I would play with my cats every day because I don't know, just some kind of therapy, like because they're there and they just sitting by me when I'm joining online classes and I can pet them, and it's just therapeutic to me. And it's so sad to see that not only that people need to face the pandemic, and recently we also have the surprising natural disaster, which is flooding in Malaysia, right? I mean, me myself, as someone who lives in Selangor, I nowadays I get scared when it rains too much because I feel like anything could happen. We can have landslide, we can have flooding, and it's just sad to think about the people losing their homes, losing their income because of the flood. And Brother Faris, I understand that the other day you went to volunteering in the places that uh, that was affected with flood. And can you share us the experience of doing that?
Oh wow! So basically, you've done your homework on the speakers. Okay, so to talk about experience. It's a for me it's a really good experience for me. It's because it is my first time volunteering. Helping. Giving something back to the community. Even though I never met those people of Ulangat before, but other volunteers in that area at that time, I'm pretty sure they're not even locals, but they see that the people of Ulangat need some help, so they just they think that okay, we should help, especially one of the site that really caught my attention was the group of food deliveries, food pandas, Shopee Food and Grab Food, uh, they would go into to their houses, and mind you, this they were like tens of the motorcycles, with the green boxes, the red, the pink boxes and the red. They just go like they just go through all these areas, and they just ask people like, hey, dah makan belum, ada nasi, dapat nasi tak, semua. And it's very something, one of the side that very for me is very interesting as well as amazing, to see that how far as Malaysians can come together to help each other despite. So yeah, and as well on the personal level, it makes me become more someone that like become more has that empathy feeling towards the people, because what there was this kid I met during our time there. She's just a little girl. She's about 6 years old, and she said to us, said to me, that during she and the family had to climb onto the roof, because they don't want to get dragged away by the current, because our area, the area was literally like only a few hundred meters from the river. So when the flood hits, their place was the worst, so and to listen to the story, like how she even mentioned about her cats, that she said that she used to have like 5 of them. They said that the mother of the cats, they drowned. So it's very, very sad for me. See, and and this is coming from a 6-year-old, So how kids, little kids at the age, they cannot lie. Basically, they speak their minds on everything. So that this is really, really experience that might scarred her for life. So when I listened to the story, I was like, I almost cried, because like I have a at the little kid was little girl. So it made me feel, I don't know, like, yeah, basically I just feel sad for her, because she had to go through that, and her house was damaged. Nothing can be salvaged anymore. So yeah, but aside from all of those the sad stories, it was really really good experience, my opening and also an eye opening experience. So yeah.
I mean that must be a story to tell like in the future. Like that must be a very meaningful experience. And even though we can't contribute much, I mean we can contribute with our prayers. When just maybe if you have some fund you can donate. I mean it's still happening even now. So I hope that everyone is doing okay. And Dr. Amiro, we know that you, me myself as your student, knows how much you are such a caring lecturer, especially when the time that I had COVID and I had to send your assignment and you gave me extension and all. So I was just wondering, being a lecturer, right? Um, uh, if there's something you could tell to educators, lecturers, teachers out there about being lenient to your students, what would you say?
Okay, thank you so much, Madiha, for the question. I think to answer the question, how should I say this? I think it's very, very subjective. It's very, very subjective. Sometimes, the way of teaching might differ from one lecturer to another lecturer. But I think we as lecturers, we are doing our best to assist all the students, especially during this pandemic, because, all of us are human beings. All of us are human beings, and I believe that all the lecturers and in fact the students are giving a very good cooperation, especially during this online learning. So I would say that as what I've mentioned to all of you, in my class, I treat all of you more than my students. You guys are like my little brothers and sisters. So of course, as your lecturer, I want the best from all of you, and of course I will do my best 100% to make sure that I can bring out that true potential from from all of you. But again, as what I've also mentioned in the class, we are living in this a very challenging situation, challenging era. All right, but what you can do is for you to have that determination, for you to unleash your true potential. And of course you have to also give cooperation to your friends, to your lecturers, in order for you to have that fruitful learning experience while you guys are in university. Yep.
Right, so that is such a good advice, and I will not, we are trying as students. We are always trying to improve ourselves every day in terms of academically and in terms of being a person. And I just feel like even though we are almost me myself like we're in the third year, we're almost finishing our degree, but it feels like we're very little still. We still don't know. We're still afraid of stepping into the real world, getting a job, and that's why I want to ask Sister Zahira, because I understood that you went for internship the other day, and being in a pandemic, like being a university student that stepped out to the real world, to the working environment in the middle of a pandemic, how does that improve you or change you as a person?
Uh, uh, okay, I did my internship a few months back, and honestly, it changed me it made me realize that if you're working at the right place with the right people, that it's not so hard. And it's not so daunting. So I know that a lot of my classmates are all scared and very scared to go to do the internship, and very well so. And you should keep that fear just a little bit, but you should also be open to the new experiences that you're gonna encounter, that you're gonna have, that you're gonna go through, uh, because uh, the transition from being a student to working as an intern is not too different, especially especially because everything is online. So we already know that we're already very much equipped with doing things with learning online. So so when I started my internship, everything was pretty much during PKP. So everything was done online, uh, and it wasn't so different. It was just a different platform, different people, but otherwise, like it's not so different, and it is definitely an experience that you should embrace instead of fear. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I needed that because, soon I'll be stepping into that zone, and I'll have to step out of my comfort zone and if I have to start my internship face to face, then it's going to be a new experience for me. And yeah, I mean, that's why that it is a very needed experience, both face to face and online, because we need the skills, we need all that we can learn. And if I may ask Brother Faris on if you could tell your juniors, or girls and boys that are stepping out of their school environment, because school environment is different now, university environment is different now, what would you give advice to them?
My advice would be, first of all, make sure to know what you're interested in, what your passion is, before you step into any course of any programs. Because if you somehow, like, let's say if you step into a program or course that you don't even have any interest in, and then you kind of feel like, oh, I want to drop out mid study, it's going to happen. Imagine the wasted time that you just cost yourself, you know and then and then also I would advise to them, like, the culture difference between school and obviously between the universities or colleges, and start to be, if especially for those who from sekolah harian, start to, to instill some initiatives to be more independent. Because step into, once you were called a university student, everything you have to do by yourself. You have to arrange the timetable by yourself. You have to basically do everything by yourself. Not to mention, you have to get out from your comfort zone, to find new friends, to find new group mates or what and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good perspective to look from, because girls and boys right now are so some of them are so, I can say, lost, because they don't really have the same routine as they had a few years ago with the pandemic and all. And even Dr. Amirul, you are taking your double master, if I'm correct. Eh,
I would say, like, I'm still in that learning process, like, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to know, why now? Why in the middle of the pandemic? Or did you enter like too early, or like did you choose to enter it the learning process now?
That's a very interesting question. Thank you so much, Fadia. Okay, now, all of us, all of you, you guys are actually in this online learning punya environment lah kan. And sometimes, I do teach online. And at the same time, in order for me to improve my teaching style, I have to put myself in your shoes. Meaning to say, I experience online learning as a student in this pandemic, and I can feel what you guys are feeling right now. So from my experience, being a student right now, I can personalize, or I can actually tailor, my teaching style to make it more engaging, so that, you guys would actually understand better during my lecture. So I think it is very, very important for me to be in your shoes, before coming out with lesson plan, your assignments. And I think in order for me to do that, I think I have to enroll myself, in class. and try to see what I can do to improve in future. But aside from that, the reason why I enrolled in my mafic is just for me um to keep my momentum to learn. Because sometimes yelah, kita bila kita belajar, we have to do assignments, we have to listen to the lectures, and I think this is one of the good ways for me to further equip myself with with knowledge, and I can channel that knowledge that I have learned to all of you. So that it is very very important for you, for me to listen from others' perspective and share it with all of you. I think that is very very important. Yeah.
I mean, in some way, we have to thank you for that because that means that you understand us more. And I just want to ask, like, when you are experiencing the same thing, the same struggles that we are as a student, what is your way of overcoming it? Maybe you can share some tips and tricks for us so we can follow.
All right. I think first and foremost, in order for me to have a very good, experience, during this online learning, first and foremost, what I did, what I'm doing right now, I will open my camera, definitely. Because sometimes when you can see your lecturer's face and your lecturer can see you, sometimes there is that connection that will actually assist you to understand better. All right. And at the same time, I will have a bottle right beside me for me to drink, throughout the lecture, because sometimes, rasa mengantuk, rasa lapar. So I think I will have some snacks, like, air kosong ke apa ke, just to keep me awake, throughout the online class. And most importantly, the last strategy that I am using until now is for me to have that positive mindset throughout this online learning. Sometimes, it starts with your positive mindset. If let's say you think that you can enjoy this online learning, inshallah you will enjoy your online learning process. But if let's say you set in your mind, alah mengantuknya hari ni kelas panjang pula, you will not enjoy the class. So most importantly, before you join any online class, please have in mind that hey, this is my I'm going to learn something new today. I am going to have a fruitful learning session. So inshallah you will enjoy it.
Thank you so much, sir, for that for those advice because I mean there are so many ways to incorporate things that you want to do to keep yourself awake, to keep yourself focused, and everyone has their own way, and that's why I feel like when we're doing face to face, we can go like after we can wait for the bus, and we are focused on hey, we are going to KLM, we are going to learn today, and we're not going to sleep in the class, of course. But then online classes happen, and we have more struggles to face with, and I just feel like there are so many things that we took for granted when we have face to face class, and I mean there's nothing we can do. I mean it's out of our control, the pandemic. So, Sister Zaira, if you can tell your 2019 self before the pandemic about like any advice, like one you want to make more memories or anything, what would you tell your past self?
Well, I would tell her to expect the unexpected because, well, the whole pandemic situation is unprecedented. Who would have thought that we would ever live through something like this? That we would have to transition this hard into online learning, or from just living every day normally, and then suddenly this is our new normal, and it happened so fast. So just to expect the unexpected and keep expecting the unexpected so that you can always adapt to the new changes in life. And I think that's really important, that you need to know, you need to have a high adaptability skill so that you can go through and is not like surprised or are entrusted with hardships while you're going through these changes.
Yeah, that's a really good word to ponder. I mean, adaptability. I mean, you have to adapt everywhere in your workplace, in your studies. So even though this pandemic is unprecedented, if you are ready for anything, you can take it, you can face it. But maybe if I want to ask for Brother Farid's opinion, like what do you expect for the future? Like, do you expect that we are going back to normal one day, or this is our new normal? And how do you feel about it?
I think past that, thinking that everything will going back to the thing how we used to be pre-COVID, because like Sister Zahira said, this is our new normal, and we have to, like it or not, we have to fit in. We have to accustom ourselves with it. Like maxed up in public. Put your mask on. Double mask. Like sanitize your hand. And all that. Check your temperature. Check in and all that. It's a very think about it. Like during the first time we think about, oh, there's so many things I have to do. And even if I want to go to a shop to buy something, I have to go all this process. It's kind of a bit too much. But then as we we familiarize ourselves with the process, it just become a muscle memory almost. And whenever we want to go out, we always aku buat otak mas aku, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I think I hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, that's why it's called the new normal, because this is normal for us now. Online classes, online everything. We do online shopping and all. I mean, Dr. Amira, how do you find the new environment? Like, do you feel like you're missing out on a lot of stuff, or do you feel like you're getting new experiences? You're getting something that you never thought you would do before? And what is your opinion on the new normal?
All right. This is my my answer to your question. I think when pandemic hits us, I think it's like a whole new world for all of us. And of course, I have to thank, I would say like, COVID is bad definitely, but at the same time, I'm thanking COVID because sometimes it pushes us going out from your comfort zone. All right. Without COVID, how are we supposed to know our true potential? All right. Without COVID, how are we supposed to know that, hey, I can survive online learning? Without COVID, how am I supposed to know that, hey, I can actually lecture via online? But again, at first it was difficult, I mean, it is difficult for all of us, to adapt to COVID. But dah 3 tahun dah ni, so I think I say that it will be easy lah, but I think we know how to handle the situation well. But I think most importantly, I just want to echo what Ira has just mentioned. Adaptability is very, very important. Okay, the situation in future is uncertain for all of us. By having a very good adaptability skills, you will make yourself visible to the public. You will make yourself more competitive in near future, because sometimes you have to remember, all of you going to graduate soon, from IIUM, and what makes you stand out from other candidate when you're applying for a job. Of course, this adaptability. All right, because sometimes different company might have different kind of interviewing punya situation. Maybe some company ada case study, some company tak ada. But if let's say you have that adaptability punya skill, you will be able to achieve SCA, or what we call sustainable competitive advantage. All right. So thank to COVID, I am thanking COVID because sometimes I am discovering a new side of Amirul. Sometimes I am so used into physical interaction, physical class. But because of COVID, I have to shift the paradigm of my teaching. Like, hey, I need to use, I need to make the assignments more interesting, so that my students will not feel bored doing it. So yeah. So I think because of COVID, I think all of us, maybe Madiha, Zaira, Faris, and all of my students, I think you guys have discovered your true potential, and you guys know how to move forward in future.
Yeah. I really hope so, because even without the pandemic, it's a tough experience to find a job. The job market is very competitive, and graduates are often like finding ways to make themselves unique. I just but there are some aspects that some people that look down on us because of we are learning online. They say that it is easy. Sometimes you go on the postings on sometimes you go on postings on Facebook that says mental health students mental health deteriorates because of online learning and all. And we can see that in the comments, like people always say that back in my days, like we have to walk 10 kilometers to our campus and all. So Zahira, do you think that this comparison should be made, or should we just agree that different learning processes, different learning methods have different challenges?
Well, I definitely think this comparison should not be made at all, because the people who are saying those things like, oh, you're learning online, it's easy, they did not go through what we went through. This is different. This is something different, something that no one was. And you know what, to add on to that, like, we were not prepared for this. We were just suddenly entrusted into this whole experience, and we suddenly had to, oh my god, we have to learn Google Meet, we have to learn like how to do everything online now, and try to coordinate with your group mates on how to do your assignments, and going to class just on via the internet. And it's very different. So I think that comparison is on basis, and people really should try to keep an open mind about these the new challenges. And if a lot of people are saying the same things, like a lot of students are saying, yo, my mental health is really deteriorating because of this situation, people should really listen, because it's something that's happening to a lot of people, not just like one singular person. Mhm.
Maybe Brother Faris wants to add anything to it. Like, how do you feel when people say that?
I think the comparison shouldn't be what they're comparing is totally two different environment, you know, because if you want to say the comparison between physical class is much harder than online class. I don't like Sister Zaira said, like, those people, they don't know what they're talking about. They didn't went through what we went through, so you know they don't realize how hard it is to just staring at the screen for hours, you know, and it gets very very draining at times. You have to sit, you know, in one place and you just stare at the screens, just receiving information. You know, you and then your brain start to saturate it. It's really it takes a toll in your mental health. You know, so yeah, so those kind of people, they didn't know what to talk about. You know, because they didn't know how we feel. You know, they didn't know what we went through. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I just feel like everybody in this world right now needs to be more understanding, like in every method, in every way. Like, none of us is expecting this, and everybody is having a hard time. Everybody is going through their own struggle. So let's just be nice and understanding to each other, right? I mean, that's all. Like, that's the least we can do as a human being. I mean, yeah. So getting info that we have a lot of questions from the audience at YouTube. So thank you so much for. I just want to thank first for the speakers' insightful responses. It's so delightful to have all of you here. I just want to give the opportunity to the audience that's viewing our live session to ask questions for the speakers. So let's proceed to the Q&A session, shall we? All right, so we have first question from Radiza Zafri. Question to Sister Era. Although you are really busy every day, never once I saw you looking sloppy. You always look pretty and presentable, even during group discussions. May I know what motivates you, Sister Zahira?
Thank you so much for the question, Brother Izzat. Well, honestly, what motivates me is that maybe I've been trained since I was young to always look presentable. And I would honestly have to thank my mother for this, because she's always drilling in my head, you have to look nice, you have to look nice. So that's just something that that I want to present, and I want to present myself as someone who is put together and who dresses nicely. So that is so because I want, well, not really for others' approval, but mostly for mine, because I like looking and feeling presentable and clean and wear nice things. So really, there's not really any major motivation. It's just, you know, I just really like feeling like this and being like this. I hope that answers the question.
I mean, it's true when they say that when you look good, you feel good, you know? Like, that's why you always dress up, you know? It's really just like looking at yourself in the mirror and like, you're taking pictures and you're pretty. Then, oh yeah, we have another question from I Know My Sarah. I have a question to Brother Paris. How did you cope with the early stages of the pandemic when we're all in the stage of lockdown?
I think I mentioned this before. It's having, come up with a routine. That's how I cope. Come up with the routine and make sure to include, some exercises. Some, if you want to throw some Netflix in the routine, then that's fine. And I'll put playing games in my routine, during the early stage of pandemic. So, but not too much of playing games because it, too much screen time, can hurt your eyes and other disadvantages as well. So yeah, having a routine, I think, is a very good strategy to cope. When we were hit with something like pandemic, especially when we in the stage of lockdown, where we cannot go out, to meet our friends. The favorite time is your gadgets, and through those gadgets, this is the only way that you can connect with your friends. So yeah. I hope that answered your question, Mr. I know.
Yeah, when it's like you have technology, it's easier for you to connect with other people from home. So I mean, you can use that technology for a good use. Another question from Nur Amalia. I have a question to Dr. Amiru. What is your biggest gain since the pandemic until now as a lecturer? Go, Mr. Amiru.
All right, thank you so much, Amalia, for the question. I think I have contacted Amalia for so many times, for events or for any activities, with KLMSS. Okay, what is my biggest gain since the pandemic? I would say that I have discovered, as what I've mentioned before this, I have discovered that hey, I am actually good. I would say I'm good in technology, but I am adapting to the latest technology that we have in order for me to deliver a good, fruitful learning session to my students. To be honest with all of you, I have never used Google Classroom before this, to be honest. I've never, I mean, like, jarang lah nak pakai Google Meet semua tu kan. But, when pandemic strikes all of us, I have to push myself, like, hey, Amirul, you need to learn how to use Google Classroom. You need to learn how to, to create more meaningful Google Meet session, for example. So I think I have adapted myself to certain technologies, and I am definitely looking forward, as a lecturer to give or to deliver more meaningful, learning experience to all my students. I hope I answered your question, Amalia.
Okay. Now we have now we have a very famous question from most of the students. Do you think that we'll be asked to go back to campus anytime soon, Doctor?
Oh, okay. Yang ni soalan, I think soalan ni agak famous jugalah, to be honest. I think next semester, even this semester pun kita dah suruh student balik, alright? Because we have all the facilities that we have here on campus. So in future, inshallah, if situation is getting better, hopefully, you guys, I am hoping all of you to be back on campus for you to to hidupkan balik suasana campus, to use all the facilities that we have here on campus. So hopefully, depending on the situation, if let's say situation permits all of you to come back, yes, definitely all of you will be coming back to the campus. But it is, depending on the situation. But in fact, even now pun sekarang pun, even we have COVID whatsoever pun, I think some of the students are here. Even Faris, Faris, you are here. So please, if let's say we're coming out of memo to ask all of you to come back, please feel free to to hidupkan balik suasana campus, and I'm definitely looking forward to meet all of you again here on campus.
Yeah, I think the library is even more quieter without us and than it already is. And just Q, which is actually Kuratu Aini, if you remember her. She's just using a different account. Also, do you think it will be hard for students and lecturers to adjust having to go face to face again after 2 years of learning online?
Okay, Kurata Ani, thank you so much for the question. Okay, this is something that I would say yang kita keluar from our comfort zone. I think all of us now are comfortable enough, with online learning. So of course there will be that adjustment period. I would say if let's say we are going to back, to face kind of teaching method. But to be honest, as a lecturer, I am definitely looking forward to have that face to face, teaching, because that is where I can actually see all of you in person, and can you guys will not be hesitating to ask me questions throughout face to face punya teaching method. But of course, if let's say we are in that comfort zone, we are too comfortable with online learning, there might be some difficulties, but I'm sure we all are going to, to be able to adjust again to, to face, in future, inshallah.
All right, so for the last question, we have a question from Ehsan Baijan, which he asked a question for Zahira, please. How do you balance your studies, work, and normal life?
Okay, so I would highly recommend everyone to get a journal, or because the way I balance that, the way that I'm able to balance both studying, working, and normal life, I guess social life, yeah, is because I have a very detailed calendar, and I would really suggest having Google Calendar, because it's super helpful. You can have lists at the side, and you can really block out your days of when you need to study, when you have time for classes, or when you want to even go out, and then you can see the times that you have free, and when and decide what to do during those times. So yeah.
Hey, well, that's such a very interesting session. I had a lot of fun, and I hope that our viewers had a lot of fun as well, as much as I do. And I just thank you for all the questions, but unfortunately, we have to wrap it up. That's all the time we have tonight. On behalf of the organizers, I would like to thank Dr. Amirul, Sister Zahira, and Brother Faris, and all the wonderful audience, YouTube, for being here as a part of our KLM Rewind 2031 event tonight. We really appreciate your precious time for being here, and we hope that everyone gained something new and had a good time. It has been an honor to be your moderator for this past hour, and I am hoping to see all of you in another event in the future. Thank you, and please, please, please stay safe and practice the SOP wherever you are, everyone. I would like to ask all of you for a photography session for a while. Yeah? All right. Uh, so, yeah, let's pose. 1, 2. Okay. One more, one more. 1, 2. Okay, last one. 1, 2. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a good night. Thank you.